because they are 2¼ inches wide. The way and another thing I was going to tell you, what I found out to be perfect is if you do your bridles, if you do them 8 inches, so you have a span from ball to ball, 8 inches, and that gives you plenty of room with gloves on to get your hands around the rubbers and against the gun, to where it's not pinching your hands against the bottom of the gun or the top of the gun, whichever, however way you decide to load your gun. 8 inches from ball to ball, that gives you plenty of room to get your hands in. Let's see if I can get what else might, and like I say, I'm sure you guys will have questions, and like I say, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. And whatever size gun you build, what I figured out is perfect on these, whether you're building them to the way I build them, the 32.5 inch, or the deep water gun, the 52.5 inch. Your rubbers are actually cut half the length of the barrel, without the muzzle, half the length of the barrel. Cut your rubbers half that length, and that seems to work out perfect. I mean, that seems to work out absolutely perfect. So let's see what we've got. If you build the deep water gun is built exactly the same. I mean, absolutely exactly the same, other than the depth of the gun. This one is 1.5 inch, and we do I do the deep water gun, the 52.5 inch gun, 52.5 gun, at 2 inches. 2 inches on the thickness of it. Other than that, everything else is set up the same way. And this gun works out the same way. If you do, like I say, when you do these to where you don't have this loose. I know a lot of the guys with the roller guns, they'll have a extra pull strap up here. To me, it's just extra resistant. You don't really need it. The way I do them is I do, like I say, the preload on them, to where you pull the bungee, through, and then what helps out on these two is to on your bungees is to bevel, as you can see, bevel the edge of the bungee, so when you pull it through the rubber, pull it through the muzzle here, just bevel the edge of the bungee so it pulls through the muzzle a little easier. But the way you do this is this one's set up in the load notch is to put it on the preload on the bottom. Let's see, yeah, put it on the preload hook on the bottom, and then pull this back, and I usually go on the second notch here, second notch, and then it takes quite a bit to get this preloaded to the second notch here. But then once you're on the preload hook, then you're not way back here, because you lose a lot of pull. The closer you get to you, the less pull you're going to have to load this. So preload, and then to the second notch on the shaft, and then fully loaded is to the next one back. And believe me, when you fully load this, which I'm not the strongest man in the world or nothing, but when you preload this and then load it, it's a pull to get it here, to load it. And there again, you're taking a 16mm rubber on the same thing set up, a 16mm rubber, and you're pulling it down to less than 8mm. Believe me, that's a lot of pull. I mean, when you'll see what I'm saying. And you can set these up. You don't have to set them up as tight as I do. You don't have to shoot them that hard. You can set your load hooks wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable. You can set them wherever you want. This one's actually set up on the preload at 14 3/4, and the load at 23 1/2. And like I say, when it's fully loaded, these bands there again are pulled down to just under 8mm from a 16mm band. So that's loaded pretty tight. And like I was telling you before, there again, you can see the difference on the muzzles. The pro muzzle versus the compact muzzle. These are 30% larger on the pro muzzles than the compact muzzle. and it just works out better for this gun. You know, a lot more pull on this gun. So like I say, you know, they work out good for me. There's a lot went into these guns. I put a lot into them. Like I say, I'll probably make another video and just give you the reason why I built my guns the way I did, and you'll understand, you know, where I come up with the concept, why I do them this way. So like I say, if you got any questions, I think I went over all my and you know, just I think I said this in the video too. You know, set your pistol grip 1 inch away from the rear. Set your pistol grip block 1 inch away from the rear of the loading pad. You know, if you set it up 1 inch away, that gives you a nice, you know, area to work with. Let's see, I think that's everything I was going to go over with you. The poly strip on the because you do use bigger shafts on this one. This one actually uses a 5/16 shaft. So the poly strip in this one is actually 3/4 inches wide and 3/4 inches thick. If you go with the big gun, the poly strip in this one is 3/4 inches wide and then 3/4 inches thick. And then what I call a semi-open muzzle instead of a closed muzzle is you actually set the shaft 3/4 of the thickness of the shaft. You'll set it into the poly. You know, 3/4 of the shaft will actually set in the groove. It's not completely enclosed. It's not completely flush with the a quarter of it's going to stick out of the channel here, and that's what I'm going to call it, a semi-enclosed shaft. So, and like I say, I'll explain that to you where I come up with that. I'll explain that to you why I done that in another video. I'll get it all put together and show you why. But this way, you know, you can get going on your gun and build them, and then I'll put the details in it later. But the shaft on this gun works out perfect as a 57-inch shaft, 5/16 diameter on the 52.5 inch, 52.5 gun. Works out perfect for it. So, you know, build your gun. Got any questions? Please give me a call, give me a holler, you know, and let me know if you got any questions. You know, if you're going by centimeters, the 32.5 inch gun is what they would consider a 80 centimeter gun. The 52.5 is a 130 centimeter. So to just give you a, you know, for instance, you know, if you own guns right now and they use the Euro guns, usually go by centimeters, 80 on the shallow water gun and 130 on the deep water gun. So hopefully this will all help you. Like I say, you know, if you got any questions or whatever, give me a call. I'll be glad to answer them for you. And I appreciate very much watching my video. I hope you enjoy it.